Who are we trying to get on the phone right now?
Well, I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited. I think we're trying to hook up.
He's on.
Hey, so please allow me to introduce a great friend of the show, paranormal investigator, and somebody that we enjoy having on, and that's Frankie Steele Pontillo. Frankie, how you doing, brother?
Frankie, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm just trying to get on camera so I can see you guys.
All right. Well, just hit the camera. There you go. All right. Well, Frankie, has had an amazing life, extraordinary life. It's the life of everybody wants, but everybody's scared to do it.
There is a downside.
There is a little downside. There's a little downside.
He will tell you.
But you know what? He really lives an extraordinary life, and from back then to now, and now being a paranormal investigator and chasing, he's got me believing, and everything's coming out. We're seeing these stuff that there are extraterrestrials. There are things out there that are beyond what we the human mind can believe in. But Frankie has firsthand experience. He's seen it. He's videoed it. He's felt it. I think maybe he even, gave a couple of hugs to him, right?
So, Frankie, let me set the stage, because we were talking about, Sideshow and I were about some paranormal stuff, and we were talking about Turner Road there in New Jersey and the New Jersey Devil and stuff the other day.
On Clinton Road, right? Clinton Road?
Yeah, Clinton Road.
Clinton Road.
Can we turn him up just a little bit, Angela? Because I'm having a hard time hearing him. And so we had you on the show a while back, maybe a little over a year or so ago, and Sideshow and I were kind of skeptical, okay? But now Frankie has, just to refresh people's memory that might not remember, he has all the high-tech gear. He brought in experts, and he was going to all these locations back on the East Coast. And he went to this one place it was undisclosed. He would not divulge the exact location, and that's fine. But he was doing an investigation. He had somebody there with like one of these infrared multi, spectrum cameras.
A high spectrum camera.
Yeah, high spectrum camera.
It's these things that the human eye can't see.
And he's there in this. It's a burial ground, and looking for contact, and the person that has the camera is taking pictures of Frankie, and who's also being videotaped, in low light conditions. And you see in that video, he comments about feeling something around his head or neck or back area, but you can't see anything on the videotape. But then he showed us the pictures that the guy with the camera was snapping, and as he's turning and looking at the camera, going, "I'm feeling something in the spectral," or it was, as I recall, it was red. And it was all around his head and shoulders and back, like it vaguely resembled. It had a human look to it, and it was like, all right, I don't know what the heck that is.
So you had a ghost sitting on your face.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what it is. We were at a location which has a lot of history of being a mob burial ground.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, someone tried to kill me there. And I got away, and years later, I went back to the same spot because there was a hole dug, and someone was found in there. The hole that I found, someone else found it, and they found a body in there years later.
Oh.
So I went back to this spot because I knew it well, because I was hiding. And it's a long story. It's involved with the mob cops. I don't know if you...
Louis Eppolito, and
Yeah, and
believe it or not.
Kappa.
Yeah, Louis. I got connections to Louis through my ex wife's family. I was their first cousin. He was in the 6-2. He was in the 6-2 precinct in Brooklyn.
Yes, yeah. He tried to kill me over there.
Louis?
Yeah. No,
really?
Louis.
Well.
The big one.
The big one. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know. He was a weird guy, man.
There's a whole story to it. It's coming out in a book soon. This guy, Mike Canello, he wrote a book. It's coming out in January 25. It's going to be the whole mob cops thing, but it's going to be told with such detail that never was done before. So it's going to be like a new, fresh story.
Wow. That's, you
Yeah.
know, it's amazing that you say that because, you know, I heard stories. I never met this guy. I never met Louis Ippolito, but I heard a lot from my ex-wife's family. You know, because
Right.
my ex-father-in-law was in the 6'2", was cousins with Louis, and he was another, you know, kind of guy. But I was just getting on a job back then, so he was telling me all these stories, and I never knew. But then I read Mob Cops and stuff. I'm like, and then you hear more, and then you hear Larry talking about these guys, and now you talking about them. Man, I didn't know there was that much truth behind this.
Oh, yeah. They were doing hits for the mob for a long time.
Yeah.
These
Wow.
cops, yeah. They actually, they crossed the line, and then once they crossed the line, there was no turning back. They thought who they were, and
Yeah.
they were untouchable, and
Well, that's
you know,
it, man.
eventually everything comes back to bite you.
Well, that's just it, man. And you said it right. Once you cross that line, if you're, you know, the mob guys will respect cops. They're not out to. But if you cross the line, if you cross the line, you go over to them. Now it's your fair game.
Yes.
You're fair game. That's it. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not a. There's no honor anymore. Now you run with them, and that's what they did. They,
Yeah,
you know what?
the greed got them, the money
Yep.
got them,
Yep.
and the power of being like untouchable on both sides. And once you cross that line, there's no turning back, because if they tried to turn back, they would have been killed.
Yeah. Louis was in Goodfellas just before he got sent to prison.
Yes.
He was
Yes.
in Goodfellas. He's in the boss scene. He's
Yes,
in the
when they're
boss
naming all the guys.
Naming all the guys. Louis is in there, and I forgot what name they call him, but he's in there sitting in the boss scene as they're going, Tommy 2 times and all these guys.
Yes,
Yeah, he's
yes.
one of those guys that they name.
No shit.
And,
Yeah, it might have been Fat Andy.
Fat Andy, that was
And
it.
then
Yeah,
there
he
was Mo
Fat
Black's
Andy.
brother,
And,
Fat Andy.
That was just before they locked him
And
up
his
with
guys,
Louis.
Frankie the
And,
Wop.
Yeah.
I think he died. I think he ended up dying in prison.
Didn't he get caught? Hadn't he moved to Vegas?
Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, he went to move to Vegas. Yeah, he thought he was going to escape and go to Vegas.
Yeah.
But it all caught up. Karma catches everybody.
Hell yeah. So
You know, everything leaves this earth but karma.
well, tell us about this red thing that was floating around your
Okay,
head,
so let me
man.
fill these in, guys. First, let me say hello. I haven't talked to you in a while. I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy
Yes.
New Year in a few days.
Thank you. And your daughter is more beautiful than ever, and she's getting big, man.
Thank you. Yeah, she's
God
wild.
bless her. God bless her.
Yeah, we went hunting the other day with her. She took down an 8-point buck.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is she loving it? She's loving hunting.
she's loving it. Yeah, she ate most of it already. Want to see the horns?
Did you make her do the traditional gut it and put the blood on the face, the whole bit?
No, this is our second year.
Oh,
But
okay.
look, I'm showing you. I had a European mount made for it.
The what?
A European.
A European mount.
Look at that. Check it out.
I'm looking.
Very cool.
See? Yeah,
Where is
right?
it? Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. That's very cool, man.
Yeah, I had its head dipped in acid for 2 months, basically.
There's a joke there. There's a joke there.
There's a good joke there, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to leave that one alone.
Yeah, you wrap the horns with tape, and then you dip the head in acid, and it eats everything away, and then you mount it on that. I like it better than the stuffed version, you know?
Well,
It looks better.
from the former life, hey,
The thing's looking at me with the stuffed version, you know? At least I know now he's really not looking at me, but he looks good. So I put him down in my theater room.
Oh, that's very cool, man.
Hey,
That's
Frankie,
very cool.
we haven't talked to you in a little while, but we've been following you, and it was funny as all get out because I was telling Sideshow, I said, yeah, I saw Frankie and his daughter going out, doing the Clark Griswold thing, going out in the woods to cut the Christmas tree, and Lucia says, I want.
Oh yeah, that big one.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna need a bigger house.
I gotta say one thing, and I gotta say one thing, Frankie.
Yeah.
I know you had some losses in your family, but I tell you, if anybody gets Father of the Year, and this
thank
is
you.
this just gives me chills because you know what? I see the bond between you and her, man. She looks at you so endearing. She loves you so much, and you put so much into your daughter. God bless you. More
Thank
fathers, more dads out there should take note on how you and that bonding, man. I think it's just so beautiful, and
Thank you. I appreciate it. Coming from you guys, it means a lot.
man. God bless you both.
Thank you. So now, on that note, I have a 16-and-a-half-foot Christmas tree in my living room right now.
Well, she picked it out, right?
Yeah, and I cut it down, but when you're out there in the forest cutting it down, you don't realize it.
Yeah, I know.
But then when I got it home, I needed 3 people to get it in the house. I had to buy a special stand, and it looks great. It's in my living room, actually, to the ceiling. You know, it's only a few feet away from the ceiling.
Did you use a handsaw or a chainsaw?
I used it. Listen, if I would have known, I would have brought a chainsaw and my dune buggy and my trailer. Because I went out there with a wagon and a handsaw.
Oh, my God.
And right before I cut this big tree down, I went to brunch and I ate these waffles. By the time I cut the tree down and dragged it across a 100-yard field, the waffles were right here. Like I was ready to die.
I will never, ever. I took my stepson about 4 years ago. You know, when you go to these little farms and you cut down these trees. It wasn't 16 foot. This was a little 7-foot tree. Trying to put the saw through that thing, my God, it was getting jammed. It was getting stuck. I'm like, no, I will never do this again.
You get exhausted coming up the elevator.
I do.
Okay, so let's be honest.
Yeah. Next year, I'm going to bring the dune buggy, the trailer, and the chainsaw.
Make it easy. And no waffles beforehand.
No.
Well, Frankie,
no, not at all.
Let's get back to this story.
So let me get back to the spot. Well, I'll tell you where the spot is. It's in Brooklyn. It's you ever hear of Coney Island?
Yeah.
Okay. In Bensonhurst, right before you get to Coney Island, there's a section on the Bell Parkway. It's right near a amusement park called Nellie Bly that's been there for years. And if you drive a little further down that road, there's like soccer fields and baseball fields.
Yep.
Which there were back 30-something years ago. They were there. But now it's all updated. But in the back then, for years, through this 50s, 60s, 70s, and early 80s, and even late 80s, the back part was just like a open field, which was very close to home for these people to utilize the area.
Right.
In a bad way.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to go back to this spot to get a little closure, because I remember where this hole was. I remember where the spot was exactly, the tree. Now the tree is giant. The fence was still there, so I took these people back to this spot because later on I found from Officer Tommy Dates, who was part of a task force, I was telling him the story, and he says, you know what? They found somebody in this hole, but I'll get back to you. And about a month later, he says, listen, everything you described in the hole, they found a guy in that hole.
Holy crap.
So the guy who was investigating that hole, you know, it was a cold case for all these years. They didn't know who did it. So then I put 2 and 2 together because the hole I found at Polito, Colorado, they had it dug.
They did
to
it
put
prior.
somebody in it. I found it.
Wow.
I was driving a trike back there, and I fell into the hole with the trike. And then on the way out, all bleeding, I was leaving this area, and they were pulling up in a car, and they were like, what happened to you? I said, I fell in somebody's hole back there.
Oh, Eppolito pulled up?
I believe on Caracal, but he pulled up in a my car. A Fury,
Huh.
or the Chrysler Fury or something.
Yeah.
I know the shape, and they pulled up, and they were like, "What happened to you?" I said, "No, I fell in a hole because I was bleeding, but I was driving the trike slow." And they're like, "You fell in a hole?" He goes, "Where?" I said, "In the back." He goes, "Can you take me there? Because I'm investigating devil worshippers, and I think this might be their area." I was like, "Yeah, get on the back." So I got the big one on the back. And I took him back there. But as soon as I took him back there, he got off and I got off. And then I showed him the hole. I showed him the shovels. He reached down in his leg and pulled the pistol out and started shooting.
Shit.
But I was surrounded by that long, like, I don't know what you call it, like a weed with a little thing on top. You see them along the Bell Parkway for years.
Yeah, all that
They're very
seagrass
tall.
stuff. That seagrass stuff.
And I ran into there, and I went, down to the shore, and I hid out for a few hours down by the water. And then I got away.
Wow.
But now, years later now, you're talking almost 30 years later, I come back to this hole with a whole crew of equipment because I know there's spirits there, bad things happen there. And as soon as I went to this spot, they were very interested in me. And these machines by the hole, now we have certain machines, cameras, machines, things that pick up on frequencies that we can't hear, but It's a frequency that's almost in tune with spirits. And this frequency was picking up a lot of stuff, and we were about to hold the machine now. Now, we're with a lot of people, skeptical people.
Right.
I didn't know what was going to happen. All of a sudden now, this machine gets turned on by these experts. I'd never seen this machine in my life. I didn't tell them about anything, really. And they put the machine on, and all of a sudden now the machine starts going, cop, 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 burn, rope,
Really?
water, drown. It's saying all these words. All right, and then it said Edward. Okay? The guy they found in the hole, his name was Edward.
I'm getting chills, bro. That because let me just because 12 doesn't know along the Belt Parkway that was the dumping ground.
Yes.
Canarsie Pier. You found. I mean, that was the dumping ground for from drug dealers to the mob. That's where they would dump everything. And the Canarsie Pier. I don't know how many people went off that Canarsie Pier.
Yeah, I used to fish there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Off Parkway.
When I worked for EMS, that's where we parked our ambulance off Avenue J, and we'd be sitting there rocking J, and there's a bagel stop over there, and then we'd shoot down to the pier, and
and eat.
and then we'd eat. But there's a lot of history in those fields.
A lot of history all along there.
Yeah.
And in this one spot, now we're picking up other voices in different languages, in Russian, and then we're picking up kids. We're picking up people from a war that happened so long ago, maybe hundreds of years ago, or fight, whatever kind of tribes were there. They were picking up. We were picking up so many things, and then there was one that didn't want us there. It just said, "Get the fuck out of here."
Just like that.
Yeah, it was mad.
So Frankie, were you like calling, like when you went there to set up? Obviously, you have to set up your equipment and position people and stage and everything. But were you like, you went there for a reason to look for something specific?
Yeah.
Were you calling that person by name?
I went there specifically for that hole, and then the first thing we asked them. Now we set up a bunch of equipment. It's all different levels of equipment that were just put there, and some new stuff that just was made. And everything was reacting to it. And the experts that we brought in, this guy, Tim and Rob, they never had this much activity in a spot ever. Ever. Every piece of equipment was buzzing, blinging, taking pictures. It was so crazy that everybody was getting chills. And even the camera crew stopped at one point and pulled me to the side and said, "Frankie, is this bullshit?"
Huh.
I says, "No, this is really happening." And the first thing we asked them, "Do you know anyone present here?" And then when you play back the recording, you hear a growl. But when you send that recording back a few days later into the studio to this lady, Cynthia, she would decipher the growls and everything in the studio. And the thing said, "Frankie, it's Sam. I'm here." That's my father.
Whoa.
Now, when this is taking place, we matched up to the Spectrum camera, and you see the aura right next to me glowing, and then at one point you see my head turn into like the Ghost Rider on the pictures.
Over in this field where where Louis Ippolito tried to whack you.
Yeah.
So you think was your pop alive at that point?
No, his ashes were at my house.
Wow.
Yeah, his ashes were at my house. And when they played this, and I got it back a couple of days later, I was freaked out when I'm reading the transcripts. This lady didn't know me at all. She didn't know my father's name. She didn't know anything. You know?
Man.
So, it makes you wonder really what's going on. But with the technology that's out now and the frequencies we can reach with the technology, there's spirits around us at all times. And this night, there was so many different, there was kid spirits, woman spirits, soldiers, different languages, Russian, and who knows what else. So many spirits were in this area. And it was just chilling.
It's funny you say Russian because maybe you remember a couple of years back, they had that ship that crashed off the Belt Parkway. It came in through the waters by the Belt Parkway and it crashed over there. It was a whole bunch of immigrants jumping off the boat.
It could be.
And
I'm
some
thinking
died.
more lines. The
Some died
Russian
in that
mob
water
buried a
over
few
there.
people there.
Some died in that water over there. It was because I remember one of the cops that used to work in my precinct was driving down the Parkway, and he saw people running out of the bushes over there, and this was a ship just beached itself, but some people drowned in the water. I'm wondering if that's around the same.
Was that in
spot.
the 70s?
No, that was in the early 90s.
Oh.
Early
No.
90s.
Yeah, no, I think more or less, Sasha, I think this were people that were murdered back there.
Well,
or murdered somewhere else and dumped back there, and their bones was in the holes.
Well, I personally, and it wasn't so much of Canarsie aspect. It was just before Canarsie. It was over by Pennsylvania Avenue, by that's East New York.
By Starrett City.
By Starrett City, right. Because that was my area over there.
Okay.
We found, I tell you personally, probably 4 to 5 different bodies along the Parkway over there. That was a dumping ground.
Yeah,
So
all
Frankie,
along there. Erskine Avenue,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, all that stuff behind Starrett City.
Yep, behind Starrett
That was
City.
a dumping ground. By the side of the Belt Parkway where I was, that was a major one because you could drive a car back there. And years later, I ended up seeing Ippolito and the other guy carrying a body out of a trunk out of there one night.
Huh.
I was back there testing a gun I just bought, and I was walking back to my car, and then I heard a car coming down in the middle of the night. I went to the side. It was them pulling a body out of the trunk.
Yeah, well, they were doing some work. They were doing some work.
They were.
You know?
They were. And this spot was so active that right then and there, I knew there was more.
You know,
Definitely.
Frankie,
Well,
I was going to say, what makes this kind of interesting to Sideshow and I is that, you know, you're a regular guy. You know,
Yeah.
you're a regular guy that has been given the wherewithal to do these kind of investigations and, you know, kind of be skeptical because let's be honest, as cops, we saw lots of stuff, and in your past life, you saw lots of stuff, so you get kind of jaded about things over a period of time, and then you go in a situation like this one and experience something that you cannot explain, but you have proof, you have photographic proof, you have audio proof of, you know, things that are happening that you just look at and go, I do not understand how this is happening.
You know, I was very skeptical. Until we started talking to Frankie, because, you know, when you hear somebody on TV that you don't know saying this stuff, right? You're kind of like, oh, yeah. But, you know, when you meet Frankie and you know this shit is this.
Oh, 100%.
It's 100%. You know,
it happens 100%.
And back in the day, back in the 50s, when you saw people tell, you know, Billy Bob and Billy Joel out fishing, you know, in Alabama, they saw a UFO. Everything was squashed. Everything was pushed under the rug, right? Now we're seeing Navy pilots. We're seeing these people see these different alien beings, and
they can't hide it no more.
They can't hide it no more.
The
and
technology.
that's the same with the supernatural. There are things that you can't explain that are happening, and now you have the education to be able to get to those frequencies, to get that equipment to be able to find that stuff, and that freaks me the hell out, man. That really does.
So, Frankie, we want on our bucket list for 2024. All right, we
bring me a spirit.
No, we wanna come to New Jersey, and we want to go with you and people of your choice and do an investigation into the Jersey Devil.
Well, I mean, the Jersey Devil, Clinton Road, the little boy that drowned. There's a lot of stories there. It's a 10-mile stretch of desolation. Honestly, it's the perfect spot to put somebody if you don't want to be found. You know, honestly, in my opinion.
Maybe we won't go there.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll put together Tim and Rob. If you want to come in, I'll set up. Just give me time before, like a month before, to set it all up, and I'll show you firsthand.
We'd love to, you know, because I saw a lot of video on the I guess it would be the Jersey Devil, and it happens, I think, every night at midnight. It's this, and everybody talks about it's swamp gas. It's this, but man, it's this orb that just cruises down the road, right? Is that what that's all, right? It's an orb that
I want to see it.
Goes down the road, and it's a certain time during midnight or during a certain time, and it passes through things. And when it passes through, people get that chill. They feel that coldness going through their body. that they can't explain.
I'm having a senior moment, Frankie, but my girlfriend V is taking me to some place, something like it's here in Texas, out towards New Mexico. I forget what it is, but people go there, and it's the same way. Like at a certain time, can't be explained. People have investigated it, and there's an orb of light that just goes kind of on the horizon, keeps coming at you. And it's out in the middle of nowhere. There's no explanation for it, but it gives you that,
that chill.
Yeah,
Have you personally on any of these investigations ever witnessed any of this, like an orb, a visual?
Well, not a visual, but afterwards when you're playing the footage back, you see the orbs in the photographs. Stuff that the eye can't see, that they're around you on the Spectrum camera, and you see orbs around you. There was even one part where we have a skeptic, John, on our team, and he wasn't a believer until this night. And when we started looking at the pictures, he says, Frankie, see this picture here? I see. He goes, you see that outline of a face? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I don't want to make you right, but that's like a distorted face of my mom.
Whoa.
I'm like, and this guy don't believe nothing. He goes, that's my mom. She was there that night.
Well, let me ask something, Frank, because a lot of people take pictures, regular pictures with their cameras, right? And all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, this, you'll see that blurred thing behind someone's head or a short light, that our cameras do pick up. Is that on the same wavelength, or is maybe they're capturing something that is surrounding them?
They're capturing an orb. Somehow at that right moment, it's hitting that frequency with something in the camera, catching it just right, and it's catching the orb.
That's,
even with a regular camera, and now as the phones are getting more technology, and the resolution, people are seeing things more and more they never saw before.
Right.
We grew up, we had the camera with the flash cube. We grew up, we had the camera with the thing that comes up the bottom. You know what I mean?
But
look, they seen us.
Right. But now a lot of people dismiss those blurs or those orbs that are in their photos as, oh my God, the sun must have hit it wrong, or
some could be explained. The mirror, the sun, a light came through. But listen, the resolution of the cameras today are so high that it's catching stuff, and sometimes people get lucky.
Yeah. That's crazy stuff, man. But I would definitely love to be part of that.
Listen, if you want to set something up, I'll synchronize something with Tim and Rob, and you'll see firsthand. And you'll be believers right after that, because these guys, they've been doing this a long time. They almost got it down to a science. They always, almost 9 times out of 10, make contact.
Now, do you do other, like, I know you do buildings as well, like, did you do Pilgrim State?
We do everything. We did buildings, we do UFOs, we do buildings, we do it all. We do ghosts, whatever it is. If we feel it's something we can go and investigate, we'll go do it.
Now, how do you know, like, where to go investigate? How does the information come to you?
People contact us through Facebook. People contact me through Instagram. So if you do Mobsters vs. Monsters on Instagram and contact me there, or on Facebook, or Mobsters vs. Monsters on Facebook, join the group and contact there. And a lot of people, it's by word of mouth, who know me. People that know me, they're like, listen, there's something going on in my mother's house. You need to come down here. And I'm like, yeah, we'll come down. So, we take a little trip, we go down, and by word of mouth, we're at different places.
But you also
everybody, once we go there, they become a believer.
But you also must get a lot of whack jobs out there going, come over.
We try to vet that out.
How do you do that?
I sit down and I speak with them.
Oh, okay.
And again, it's just like being in the street. If somebody's bullshitting you or not.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's some people that I went on the phone and I'm like, this sounds crazy, but I got to meet them in person. And some people, when you meet them in person, I can look at their eyes, I know they're lying.
Right.
Or they're so believable that they are really traumatized by it.
They're scared.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're like, oh shit, I gotta get over
there. There was this one guy. He's seen a Bigfoot in his yard. When we went to his house, it was like a couple of months later. He was still carrying a rifle on his shoulder, walking around his house because he was so scared.
That's I wouldn't want to run into a Bigfoot. The orbs and the spirit life or UFOs, I'm all good with.
Yeah.
Man, a Bigfoot, that shit's going to rip you apart.
I was skeptical, but again, I did a lot of research, a lot of scientists, a lot of stuff in the Bigfoot community, and I'm a believer in it because of the people that I spoke to and people who actually witnessed them. They're so believable. There's no way. They would definitely pass a lie detector test. I know it,
now,
without even giving them one.
They're all over the world, right?
Yeah, there's about 2 million of them.
All over the world, and
yeah.
You know,
I have one group of people, of scientists, that think it's something from the prehistoric days that just evolved into something. And then I have one group of scientists that work for NASA that think it's something from outer space.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really in depth.
That is.
I don't want to sound like a cuckoo clock on your show, but
No.
It's really in depth.
Because so many of our listeners, so many people we have spoken to since the last time you were on the show, I mean, are really, really heavily involved in the afterlife. They're very heavily involved in the spiritual world, and I'm sure a lot of them are going to want to contact you and learn more about it because this is a very hot topic. And not only that, and since you found proof, and there is proof out there, and you're not just some television evangelist that's out there. You are friends
I'm
with the
just
show.
an average guy from a wild life, and I'm just living a good life now. And I do this. I've been intrigued by this for for decades upon decades. I read books about this before I even got involved in doing actual investigations. I was reading books for 30 years about this stuff.
Right.
And firsthand, what I experienced, I know for a fact in my heart and what I experienced, there's more to this after we die.
Well, I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it, that it's not just the end.
No, it's not the end.
You know.
It's something else after this. I don't know exactly. I can't pinpoint what it is, but there's something else where people are lingering. And maybe there's some more after this, but I got only to one level so far.
I think it's called heaven and hell.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that exists. I think the archangels exist, and a lot of the bad devil stuff exists. And in the course of all the years, it just evolved. And I think alien life, devil life, angel life, it's all around us having a war on its own.
I agree with you, and I think we would be closed-minded if we thought that it was not true.
We're not the only circus in town.
We are not the only, like I said, we'd be closed-minded if we thought so. There's a lot
foolish.
of things. There's a reason there's an Area 51. There's a reason they have all this stuff. There's a reason Trump developed the Space Force. It wasn't because he wanted another part of the military. It's because he got into the White House and said, "Holy shit, there are things living out there."
Not for nothing, Frankie. What you're saying is actually referenced in the Bible. It talks about at this time the demons, which are controlled by Satan and hell, have control of that area you cannot see, right? Of space. I don't know how to define it. I believe much of it on faith, that there are things out there that we cannot see.
Oh, yeah.
That are there. It doesn't mean they don't exist. It's like the wind. I've never seen the wind, but I can feel it on my face. I know it's there. I cannot see the air I breathe, but I can feel it when I take it in my lungs.
It's how you open up your soul and you accept these things, because there are a lot of unexplained things. That's why animals can see things
we can't,
because they haven't been jaded. But that's not true, So these things are all real, but we've been closed-minded, and we've been told over the years to dismiss it as coincidence or dismiss it as something else. But Frankie, I hate to cut you off, brother.
There's a lot going on around us that we won't know until we get to that level.
That's right.
But to be closed-minded, that thinking it doesn't exist, it's a foolish mistake.
Well, you are opening up minds all over the place. If you guys can come to Texas, we'll do it here. I would love to do it here as well.
Well, maybe I can make that happen. We're going to see.
We'll be happy to come to Jersey. I'd love to come back to the East Coast. Can't wait. That's my home. But Frankie, I wanna thank you so much for joining us because
Thank you,
this was
guys.
amazing.
Anything for you guys. I love you guys.
We love you too, and have a happy New Year. I'm glad you guys
too.
had a great Christmas. Father of the Year, brother, always.
Thanks.
And keep.
And listen, I wish all your listeners out there and everybody listening a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Brother, stay blessed.
Stay safe, Frankie.
You too.
We're coming
All
to
right, fellas.
Jersey in
Take
24.
Care. Have
We're
a drink
coming
for
to
me
see
on New Year's.
All right. You got it.
Yeah,
Take
fellas.
care.
See you,
Bye-bye.
buddy.
Man, Frankie Pontillo, man, he's just a ghost hunter. He's I don't want to say retired, but he is just he was in a past life with the mafia, intriguing life. He's lived an extraordinary life. He's turned his life around. He's become one of our greatest friends.
To make our point, okay, honestly, if he's out in the woods and he's wearing that shirt he has on today and Bigfoot saw him, Bigfoot would haul ass the other way. I meant to ask him about that shirt.